Ground beef and breadcrumbs, some onions and an egg.
My mouth is watering, so please don't make me beg. I know everybody's got their taste, and that's just fine.
But if you say that you don't like it, then you've never tasted mine. I'm talking about meatloaf.
Okay, so I was given one of the most simplest challenges from Cindy. Cindy, thank you for the challenge, although it's not really a challenge. You asked to know about meatloaf. Nothing could be easier than meatloaf. And you said you make it different every time. That's not unusual, because meatloaf was actually something, it was kind of a recipe that was made up during the time when things were lean, like during the Depression, when people had to make their meat go further. And so there's all kinds of different recipes of meatloaf out there. How you make it, how you prefer it is up to you. And really, mine's never the same twice either. My mother would sometimes use oatmeal in place of crackers. Breadcrumbs can be used. Crackers can be used. I'm just going to use I don't even know what you can see here. So I'm using snack crackers. They're like similar to a name brand. I like to use like fresh herbs in just about everything I make. Basically, you use your meat, you use an egg, you use whatever spices you want, and you use a filler to make it go further, like crackers or breadcrumbs, day-old bread, or whatever. So, I've got my package of ground beef. I hope you can see all this. And I'm just going to dump meatloaf. We'll take the meat and then maybe some onions, unless you don't like onions. An egg, which holds everything together. And let me wash my hands, because I want to stick my hands in the crackers. You want to put some ketchup in it? Don't you just love that sound? And then some crackers. That's your basic. Or crackers, breadcrumbs, oatmeal, whatever. That would be your basic meatloaf right there. Okay? Then, of course, if you're like me, you'll put some salt, pepper, and some other spices in it. And I'll show you that in a minute. Some of these aren't really... I'm going to put a little bit of fresh tarragon and cilantro. Let's start with the cilantro. And as you know, with the cilantro, you just kind of, take a bunch of it and just kind of tear it. I mean, yes, you could use a knife and chop it. I like to pinch and tear with some of these because it really releases the aroma and the flavor. You can get these stems as little as you want. Okay, and that's probably about a tablespoon of fresh cilantro. No more is needed. It's very nice, strong, aromatic, very nice. I mean, you could add more if you like it. I know some people just really, really, really like cilantro. All right. Tarragon, you can use fresh or dried. I have some fresh here. I want to use a little bit of fresh. And so basically you just take the stem, whoops, and then take the leaves off of the stem and try to break them up a little bit. So that I don't want too much of it, just enough. Okay, and that's all the more of the fresh that I'm going to put in that I have on hand. And of course, you know, I make my own powdered celery, and I love that, so I'm going to put in a good, more than a capful, because it really smells good. And then of course I like my parsley flakes, about a half a capful. A little bit of garlic powder. You could put some fresh chopped garlic in here if you like it. I only put just a hint. Some onion powder, just a hint. Chili powder. And if there's any other spices or anything that you like, definitely put it in there. Yeah, that's about enough. Okay. And as far as how much ketchup to put in, oh, about a squirt. A squirt would do. And I forgot to get my pan that I'm going to cook it in, so I don't even know where it is. I'll find it in a minute. But anyway, you've got everything in there, and so basically you just start mixing it up by hand. And it's pretty much where I want it to be, and so I'm going to wash my hands, put this stuff away, and find the pan that I'm going to bake it in, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm trying to put this in a place where I can show you what I'm doing here. Hopefully you can see me. Anyway, I've got my pan. And here is the meatloaf, and you know, I had neglected to put in my salt and pepper. Find my salt here. I like sea salt when I'll use table salt, but I like to use sea salt mostly. So I'm going to mix a little bit of salt and pepper in here before I put it. One of these days, I'll be doing the Meatloaf, which incorporates more than one type of meat and wrapped in bacon. There's barbecued meatloaf. There's just all kinds. There's all kinds of things you can do with meatloaf. You know, you don't have to stick to one certain recipe. I don't care what anybody says. And your recipe may differ. And I'm just making a small one. You can make a large one. The Meatloaf, oh my lord. Those you have to make huge because they are so good. But I'm just making the small one. Wash my hands. I always preheat the oven between 350 and 400. And then of course I'm going to take a little bit more ketchup, and I'm just going to slather it on the top of this meatloaf. And put as little as... You don't even have to do this if you don't want to. This is the way I'm doing it. If you were making a barbecue meatloaf, and in place of ketchup in the recipe and on the recipe, you might use your favorite barbecue sauce. You know, you might put different things in it, like, you know, why not add some diced tomatoes and corn in your meatloaf and put, like, a smoky barbecue sauce, make it Western style, you know? This is just a basic meatloaf with just herbed up. And, of course, I like my ketchup. Okay, so it's going to go in the oven, and then I'll be deciding what I'm going to make to go with it, and you'll get to see the finished product. And of course, I'm not going to put my full meatloaf recipe in there. I'm going to put the basic meatloaf recipe in there. Then, in the description. Use the basic meatloaf recipe. Use whatever types of meat you like, or a mixture of meats you like. And then put the stuff you like in it. Come up with your own recipes. Come up with your own ideas. There's nothing, there's all kinds of cookbooks out there, but, you know what you like, and that's what you should use. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I decided that tonight with my meatloaf I was going to make some Harvard beets, and this is just a quick recipe, 1 can enough to feed 2 people. I'm going to put about a pat of butter, real butter, into the pan. Turn this on. And with that butter, a little bit of cornstarch, so I'm only going to put in about, and I'm just throwing it together all except the beet part. Okay, so this is about 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, about a tablespoon and a half of sugar, about 2 capfuls of apple cider vinegar, and the beet juice, just the juice from the beets, from the can of beets. This is sliced beets. And then I'm going to whisk it. Now this is just my own recipe, and as you can see, the beet juice will be kind of pinky in color until you get that all whisked in there real good. And when it starts, as it starts to gel up and get done, you'll put the beets in, and it'll be like its own little jelly. And it's just a real nice, tasty, kind of thick. It doesn't drip everywhere, kind of like a jelly. And then after I get it whisked real good and all the lumps out of it, then I'll start using my handy dandy magic cooking wand, which is my wooden spoon. And it doesn't really take very long to make the Harvard beets. This is just my own recipe. You might like it more sweet, you might like it less sweet, you may use a sugar substitute if you know the, measurement from... Show you, because it's already getting bloopy. As you can see, it's bloopy. See how thick it is? But it's still not transparent enough for me, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of the water. And you can keep doing this until you get the desired thickness, or not so thick. But you want to get it good and thick before you put the actual beets in, because it'll get watery again. So you want to keep it cooking. And go ahead and put the beets in. And then you just kind of keep cooking it on medium until it's at that thickness that you desire. You can eat it hot, you can eat it cold. If you eat it cold, it's great, to take with picnics. It's really good. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about this right now. We're going to let it thicken up. At this point, you could eat it like it is. But I like mine a little thicker. So, I'll see you when the meatloaf is done. Okay, meatloaf fresh out of the oven. And then we have the Harvard beets over here. And then I just threw together some pasta, some tricolored pasta with some broccoli, and I made a butter sauce and a little bit of parsley flakes, and of course salt. Did not put pepper in this yet. So anyway, hold that right here and here. Don't touch the bottom part. Okay, so I'm going to plate this up. Hold it on over here. I'm trying to use an assistant that has never used this particular camera before, so I'm going to plate up everything and serve. Want a butt piece? Just shake your head, Mr. No. Okay. So, here it is. Nice piece of meatloaf. It's falling apart a little bit there, but that's okay. And then a little bit of pasta with some broccoli mixed.
No, I don't want on that.
You don't? Oh, this will be my plate and I'll give you the other butt. Okay, and some Harvard beets. And dinner. Dinner is served. If you try this recipe, let me know about it. You know, if you like the recipe, if you change it up, if you have a favorite recipe that you'd like to share, I'd like to hear about it. Join us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and happy eating.
But if you say that you don't like it, then you've never tasted mine. I'm talking about meatloaf.